Welcome back to MTG Therapy. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 of the most hated commanders in Magic the Gathering. These might not all be in your top 10, but if you play enough Commander, I can assure you at least a few of these guys are going to make you want to pack your stuff and go home. Without further introduction, let's dive into these commanders. Starting off with Avacyn, Angel of Hope. The reason she's hated so much is because indestructible board protection is a freaking nightmare. Once she lands, many opponents are stuck unless they brought exile-based board wipes or targeted removal. She's often used in mass land destruction decks so that you can wipe lands while keeping the board safe. If you see Ravages of War or Armageddon come out while she's out, do yourself a favor and just scoop. After that, we have the Mother of Machines with Elesh Norn. The reason that she's so hated is not only does she double your ETBs, but she also shuts off everyone else's. It's the kind of asymmetrical effect that feels brutal in casual pods, especially when your ramp or card draw suddenly does nothing. After that, we have Jin-gitaxias, Core Augur. He's on this list because he's a brutally unfair card draw engine. Everyone else discards their hand while the controller draws 7 each turn. He's often cheated out early, but by the end of the game, he's usually not letting anyone else play. Cool, I don't have cards anymore. Guess I'll just watch. I also wanted to include Jin-gitaxias, Progress Tyrant. The reason he's hated so much, he counters the first spell your opponents cast each turn. Meanwhile, your spells get copied. He makes it really hard for opponents to claw back. Guess I'll waste my removal to get countered. Hope you don't cast anything better next. Next up is probably the best vampire commander out there, good old Edgar Markov. The reason he's hated so much is because you don't even have to play him to benefit from one of his abilities. You could build a vampire army without him leaving the command zone all game. His ability snowballs early, floods the board, and usually demands a response by turn 3 or you're toast. Another card hated for its ability in the command zone, the Dragon. I will admit, this guy came right out of my personal dragon deck. It's a really fun commander, but it puts a huge target on your back, that's for sure. The reason it's hated so much is it's a massive value engine that cheats out dragons and draws cards. Once it makes it to the battlefield, the game usually ends pretty fast. And even before then, just casting dragons is discounted and dangerous. I thought we were ramping, not summoning an Air Force on turn 5. Next up, we have Jodah, the Unifier. The reason he's hated is because Legendary Cascade is explosive. A single 3-mana legendary might lead to 3 more creatures and a giant pump. Even spot removal feels useless when one cast triggers a chain reaction. Oh no, they just cast a random 4-drop. Here comes the legendary clown car. After that, we have Atraxa, Grand Unifier. The reason she's hated? She draws a full grip of cards just for entering the battlefield and has 4 keywords. She's like a 1-card engine that fuels everything and blocks like a champion. You cast 1 card and now you have a full hand, a giant flyer, and no downside. You can't talk about one Atraxa without talking about the other. Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. Typically, you'll see both of these cards in the same deck. Either one can work as a commander. The reason she gets so much hate? Proliferating every turn for free is scary in any deck using planeswalkers, infect, or counters. And her keywords make her incredibly efficient at defense and stabilization. Oh, my 1 poison counter turned into 5 real fast. You can't talk about the most hated commander cards without at least talking about a couple Eldrazi. For the first Eldrazi, we have Emrakul, the Promised End. She's hated because mind-slaving a player can completely wreck their game. You use their board to kill their own creatures, discard their hand, and then drop a 13/13 with protection from instants. You just made me kill my own creatures and cast my board wipes, then swung at me with my own team? Brother. Then there's Emrakul, the World Anew, who also lets you take control of creatures from your opponent, but it'll also have flying and protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. And if those aren't enough, it also has Madness for 6. Tell me again why I want to play against Eldrazi. And on to our last card from this list, we'll have Ulamog, the Defiler. Just like Emrakul, he'll be another Eldrazi that's hated for a commander, and he's got a few reasons to be hated. If you've played with or against Ulamog the Defiler before, you know exactly why he's hated. And for those of you who haven't, let me just break it down for you. So when you cast Ulamog the Defiler, you get to pick an opponent and exile half their deck. You take the highest mana value card from those exiled cards, and Ulamog will get a +1/+1 counter equivalent to the mana value of that card. So if you exile a card that's 10/10, Ulamog becomes a 17/17. And then he has Annihilator X, where X is equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on Ulamog. Which, if you've never been hit with Annihilator, count yourself lucky, because when Ulamog attacks, the defending player has to sacrifice X amount of permanents. And to note, this is before they declare defenders. So if he has Annihilator 10 and the person you're attacking has 7 permanents, they're left with nothing. And if you didn't think that made him powerful enough, he also has a ward price of sacrifice 2 permanents. So if you want to target him with anything, you have to sacrifice 2 of your permanents. If you don't have a counter for Ulamog, do yourself a favor and scoop. So that's 10 of the most hated commanders in Magic the Gathering. And a few honorable mentions. Do you run any of these cards as your commander? I currently only run the Ur-Dragon as one of my commanders. I'm also working on an Edgar Markov deck, but both of those decks are only for a certain group of friends who all run one of these guys as their commanders. But what do you guys think of this list? And how does it compare to your personal list? Are there cards that you think should be on this list? Or cards that you think shouldn't? How often are you running into these commanders? Let me know down below. But if you made it through this video, I really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.